Hello. मी सुरू आहे माझं सेशन. माझा ब्रेकफास्ट झाला आहे. आता उद्यापासून शक्यतो कमीत कमी सेशन. उद्या एक हे वेटफील्ड आहे ना, त्यांची इंटरव्ह्यूज घ्यायचे. तेच चालते.
Hello, sir. Piyush, sir. Good morning.
Very good morning.
Warm
Good
welcome,
morning,
sir.
sir. Very fine. Just 1 minute. Joining my camera.
So we will initiate our session by 10:05, sir.
Yes, we will start at 10:05. Not 10.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, fine. Thank you.
Sir, whether we have to share your PPT or yourself, sir? Piyush, sir. PPT clear. Okay. Open menu. Sir, Kanchana ma'am, Benjamin sir, Sanmu sir. So you raised the hand. So Piyush sir.
Yes, good morning.
Sir, PPT shall be shared from our side or yours?
No, no, I will share it. Currently,
You will
everything
share.
is fine.
Okay,
But
sir.
the minute I feel there is a problem, I'll let you know.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Fine.
So shall we
Shall we
start, sir?
start? Yeah, shall we start?
Okay.
Let's start.
on preparation of roadmap for the quality assurance in higher education through NAAC assessment and accreditation. Hearty welcome to our speaker of the first session, Professor Piyush Mahade, Associate Professor and Head, Department of Zoology, H.V. Desai College of Arts, Commerce and Science, Pune. A few words I would like to mention about Professor Piyush Sir. This is my third session of Piyush Sir addressing on the same topic, effective documentation system. To my observation, I find Sir to be very cordial and committed, and this inspired me a lot. And we wanted Sir to address on documentation system, which is his area of specialization, and hence he is here with us today. I'm really very happy that our institution has invited such an experienced professor to address on the very significant topic, effective documentation system, and nearly 50 plus institutions are going to be benefited out of this. Warm welcome once again to you, sir. Warm welcome to the participants connected through online and also to the participants gathered here. Hope you have got the printouts on hand so that we'll have a better understanding. And a request to all the participants, your queries can be posted in the chat box during the session or at the end, so that this will be convenient both to the resource person and to all the participants. Special welcome to all the principals of various colleges connected here. I think online mode will be more comfortable to you all, sirs. My warm welcome to all the members of the organizing committee. Now I call upon Dr. S. Rizwana, Assistant Professor and Head of Computer Science, to introduce our resource person.
A warm and grateful morning to one and all present here. I am extremely overwhelmed to get this opportunity to address you all on this auspicious occasion. I am highly honored and feel privileged to have been given this opportunity to introduce the chief guest of this day, Mr. Piyush Mahade, Head, Department of Zoology from H.V. Desai College, Pune. Sir is a founder member of IQAC Cluster India, and through this movement, he is providing assistance to the colleges and university for NAAC accreditation and also provide training for IQAC coordinators through FDPs. Sir has trained 25,000 plus IQAC personnel till date. Sir is associated with Wakefield Industries and Whitecode Software Solutions as an academic expert. He is a well-versed soft skill trainer for HRDC Pune and also expert in corporate training. He is a renowned academician with 30 years of academic service. He has various vital roles in academics, acting as a member of Board of Studies in Sophia Women's College, Mumbai, member in Syllabus Committee of Savitribai Phule, Pune University. He has developed various interactive modules in zoology for effective training. Sir is an IQAC member for MIT, AUE Pune, St. Teresa's Institute of Education, Santa Cruz, Mumbai, Indira College of Arts, Commerce and Science, Pune, and Modern Law College of Pune. As part of academics, Sir has a rich experience in research, having published 8 books and 6 research papers in international journals and paper presentations in various national and international conferences and chaired sessions in national conferences in zoology and for quality-related conferences. We are fortunate enough to have such an eminent personality with us today. It's my privilege to invite Mr. Piyush Mahade to address on the topic effective documentation system for prompt and error-free data collection. Welcome you, sir, for the session.
Thank you so much. Okay. So let us start. Yes. Respected principal.
Sir, okay, sir.
Yeah. Can we start?
Sir, yes, sir.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Respected principal, respected management, of Erode Arts Science College, principals of different colleges, IQC coordinators from various colleges, and teachers. Thank you for being here and allowing me to share my views on documentation. This documentation goes more with teachers. Before I start, there's a small story that I want to tell you. Whenever I used to go to collect documents, I used to find big problems. The teachers did not cooperate. They did not like new formats. Collection of the data was a big problem. Data from the office used to come very easily, but data from the teachers used to take a lot of time. And I kept on thinking, what is it that I need to do so that teachers will work it out? I will be able to get the things in a proper way, the way I want it. And when it came to documentation, nobody would come and help me out. The principal would say, oh, that's easy, you get it done. I recollect out in 2008 when I was given that job of IQAC. That time IQAC, NAAC, everything was one and the same. People did not know what IQAC is. Forget people, even IQAC coordinator did not know what IQAC is. And then I was to collect the documents. So I used to go into such kind of programs, workshops. They were not workshops, they used to be seminars. Respected Hegde sir from NAAC used to come over there. All the way. That time it was not online. He used to talk a lot about NAAC and everything would get over. And I used to get up and say how to do documentation. Everyone would laugh at me, and I used to think, well, something is wrong with me only, not with anybody else. Everybody knows documentation, and maybe it's a private secret that people don't share documentation. Today, let me be very honest. People are ready to learn what documentation is, and we need to know more and more about documentation. Over a period of time, with lots of mistakes, I could come up to the concept of documentation. I have a small group of 2000 colleges, pan-India. I conduct a good number of courses exclusively on documentation. We train teachers, we train IQC coordinators, we train principals, we interact with vice chancellors. We create materials, and documentation is at the heart of it. Trust me, every teacher is a good documenter. Every teacher. All those who are over here, 79 people, if I ask them, do you have your 10th passing certificate? They will say, yes, we have it. And if I say, do you have your master's certificate? They'll say, yes, I have it. Your PhD certificate? Yes, I have it. We have all the document that we need. The problem is when it comes to college work, we have a problem. This is one part. There's a second story that I want to tell you. Just as we are not born with manners, we are also not born with documentation. We need to learn documentation. And institutions don't teach. Our colleges don't teach when we are students as to how to document. And therefore, documentation is a very big gray area. A teacher joins as a teacher, he looks at a teacher, he understands a teacher, he joins as a teacher. He thinks teaching is teaching. But after he comes into the profession, he comes to know, oh my God, there is something that documentation has to be done. He does not know that. Trust me, I have gone through a very large number of DVVs. I am associated with a very, very large number of colleges. A good college loses 20% of 20% of documentation. An average college loses 40% of documentation. That is 2 years work. And those who are not good at documentation lose more than 60 to 70% of documentation. And that is the reason why we start facing problems. Our grades start falling down. And therefore, working on documentation is just like we working on ourselves every day. The time we give for ourselves every day. After we get up, we have a cup of tea, we have a breakfast, we have bath, we have we wear good clothes, we go to the institution, we work over there. Just as we spend time on ourselves, we need to spend time on documentation also. A good documentation means a good institution. You look at any institution that is a good institution, which you call it as a good institution, it is with good documentation. All those institutions who have A+, they have good documentation. All those institutions all over the world where we want to send our children to study, they have good documentation. So they are able to brand themselves in a better way. If we want to be good, we need to have a good document. Today's documentation is going to be for teachers, and we are going to have this session in 2 parts. One, a small presentation of 15-20 minutes, and 2, a hands-on training of how to fill up the basic details and what are those formats that we need as teachers, and what is that content that we need to fill up the document. We will be talking on some very simple formats, very, very simple formats. These formats are open to you. You can use them, you can share them, you can brand them on your own name. They are already with the nation. So with this, let us start with our small presentation on documentation, and then you're welcome. Kindly allow me to share the screen so that we can start the presentation. A small presentation followed by working. I request the admin to please make me a co-host or allow me to share. So when we talk of documentation, we have 2 big areas. One is documentation that comes from the office, and the other is documentation that comes from the teachers. The documentation that comes from the office is a one-point source. You have to go and collect the information from the office. But when we are talking about documentation to come from the teachers, we have to collect the data from multiple people. And many a time they are our colleagues. And because they are our colleagues, collecting the data becomes a problem. So we need to get those bare minimum things that we need. We need to see to it that they become very precise. So that once they become very precise, collecting the data, storing the data becomes very easy. The third part happens to be, see, we go to ISHE, we go for NIRF, we go for NAAC, we may go for many other sources. We need information every time. So we need to have the documents in that way so that they can be used anywhere. You should be able to use those documents wherever you need to use them. Not just NAAC. This is made only for NAAC. This is made only for NIR. This is made. Life will be very difficult. If we don't want that to happen, we need to have a base level format which can be used anywhere. So we'll try to go for that also. Let us look into the picture. So now let us go for this small presentation. And yeah, documentation is the art of preserving work. I am Piyush Pahade. I am from Pune. And my organization is, I'm also associated with, I have started an organization called IQC Cluster India. Around 2000 colleges are associated with this particular institution. Now, what is documentation? Just 1 minute. Yeah. To
Sir,
me,
excuse me.
yes, please.
Click on hide, sir, in the lower bar.
Pardon me.
Hide.
Just
Stop
1 minute.
button. So you stop sharing.
Yeah. I have stopped sharing.
So whenever you present the screen, lower bar
Yeah.
will appear. In that lower bar, you just click on hide, sir.
Okay. Can you see the presentation now? Hello.
Yes, sir. Slideshow mode.
Yeah, it is coming to a slideshow mode.
Okay, sir.
You were not able to see this?
Able to see, sir.
Okay, fine. Thank you. To me, documentation is a love letter you write to your future. If you are good today, you will love it tomorrow. If you are not good today, you will not like that documentation tomorrow. And therefore, documentation plays a very big role. It is something for the future that we do. Because we are teachers, we always need a definition. This is a internet definition that I want to tell you. Documentation is defined as the process of classifying and annotating text and related materials. The material provides official information or evidence as a record. And here we come to a word called record. This word is very important. Just 1 minute. We come to the word called record over here. There are two words, document and a record. A document can be created. A record is generated. For example, now, when you all are sitting over there, there is an attendance that will come. You will be signing that attendance. That's a record. When I'm conducting this session, it is getting recorded. It's a record. It's a real-time record. Whenever we are talking about any activity being done, for example, this activity to be done, I was sent a letter. It's a record. When the activity will be over, there's a thank you letter that will come. That's a record. Records are generated. Documents are created. If you ask Murugandan sir that you write down 2-page article on this entire activity of 2 days, he can write it today, he can write it tomorrow, he can write it after 8 days also. It would be a report of total number of activities that have taken place, or the highlights that have taken place in these 2 days. But it is not a record. It is a document. Because you can write it anytime. But when it comes to an attendance, it is going to be generated. It is time bound. When it is a recording, it is generated. NAAC checks records. Documents support records. And therefore, we need to prepare records. Otherwise, your documents will not be accepted. Real-time documentation is creation of a record, and that is what we are going to talk today. So we are going to talk about records. We are not going to talk about general documentation that I just wanted to make a mention of. Now, furthermore, let's go to documentation. Internal Quality Assurance Cell, IQAC. Internal quality is everybody's business. I repeat, it is everybody's business. I repeat, it is everybody's business because though we may feel that there are some people who are in IQAC, they are responsible for IQAC, quality is everybody's business. And therefore IQAC is everybody's business. The only thing that can happen is someone is in the committee and someone is not in the committee. I haven't seen a single teacher who has never made such a comment, who has not made a comment. He will always say that my today's lecture was good, but I want tomorrow's lecture to be better. What is he talking? He's talking about quality. So quality is everybody's business. Quality is everybody's responsibility. Quality is the necessity. And organizations need to improvise on quality, and participation is the key. We only can check if you have participated, and participation comes through documentation. And this is our story. This is the story that we do. What do we do daily? We work very hard. We care for our students. We fight for their benefit. We achieve it. We see that our students are happy. We are also happy, and we don't document because we feel it is not important. Can you see that that animal on which we are sleeping? That animal is sleeping. That animal is documentation. And the one who's sleeping on that documentation is we the teachers. That minute document is not important, so we are sleeping. And therefore, no documentation. And then, forgetting is difficult, but remembering is worst. And we forget, and so no documentation. And then NAAC comes. And that documentation kills the institution. We blame NAAC for not understanding our hard work. Kitna kaam kiya, we did so much of work. See, this NAAC has nothing to do with it. They don't understand. Primarily, good documentation is like a tamed tiger. If we want NAAC to acknowledge us, NIRF to acknowledge us, any other accrediting agency to acknowledge us, then in that case, we need to have good documentation. And therefore, good documentation is like a tamed tiger. Now, what does a document do? Number one, it records the past. Because it records the past, therefore, we are able to say it states the current situation. Because it states the current situation, we are in a position to say that it can predict the future. Because it can predict the future, therefore, we can plan for tomorrow and we can create a system so that we can regulate our inadequacies. If we do documentation very seriously and take care of those documents very seriously, it will tell us it's a guarantee of availability of all resources all the time. Something more, it tells us what, but it also tells us what not. And therefore, documentation is the heart of the organization. And therefore, we need to document constantly, continuously, every day. When we talk of documentation, why is it so that documentation is important for IQAC? Number one, it is the advertisement of your work. What do? It can be showcased. Second part, by doing this documentation, you are cutting down operational ambiguity. Your document speaks. You must have seen a notice. That notice tells you there is a meeting. The principal gives a notice that there is a meeting at 10 o'clock in the conference hall. Tomorrow, 30th of August. Operational ambiguity is gone. The paper is speaking. Instead, if the principal tells someone, no, tomorrow we will have a meeting at 10. Down the lane, it will reach that tomorrow we may have a meeting. From 10 to 10:30, 10:30 to 11, 11 to 12. And someone may even say, because there is a meeting tomorrow, there will be no lectures. This is not what principal had said. But because it did not come on paper, things became very ambiguous. Documentation is a good training material which we have created, and it cuts the training time. It helps us in creating and updating the best practices. Tracking our improvements becomes very easy. And therefore, good documentation helps us to make money. And if you're in if the documentation is good, it indicates that you are a professional organization. And therefore, we need documentation. But then there are some techniques in India, khas karke. These are called as bad documentation techniques. What are those bad documentation techniques? We keep on finding such people around us. One, no documentation. No documentation. Whatever you do, I will not document. Kya zarurat hai? There is one more, the tomorrow concept. Aaj nahi kal, we'll do it tomorrow. Somebody says, it's not my job. I'm paid not to do documentation. And there could be someone who say, why me? Because you have asked me a document, I'm giving you Lele. Take this. Data incorrectness. You have asked me, but I will not sign, Baba. I'm not going to take that responsibility. No signature, no accountability. Giving incorrect data. Giving illogical proofs. I remember in one of the cases, it's a very old story. We had a lady now who was retired. She came to me and said, sir, you're the NAAC coordinator. So I'm giving you this chit. I said, what is that chit? It's a bill. I said, bill of what? Last year we had conducted a flower show. I said, so? That time I had brought the flowers through via with rickshaw. I said, so I did not have that bill that time. I found it today. You now take it and give me my 30 rupees back. This is an illogical proof. So I said, how does it relate to me? No, you need a proof, na? I said, but it's an illogical proof. The rickshaw bill with current date for an event that was taken 1 year ago, how can that be a logical proof? Distortion of facts, confusing, unclear, vague documents. We come to second part of preservation. Keeping the things with a wrong name, you'll never find it on the computer. Or keeping the document at some other place in some other file, you'll never find it. Bad preservation. Use of computers without its knowledge. And in the north, it is called as doing anything to do anything. That is called as the jugaad concept. This is what we do. And therefore, we don't get good grades. Now, I want all of you to please participate. I want you to just 1 minute. Fine. We are going to, we have a flyer over here. Sorry. Well, sorry. We have a flyer over here. I'm not able to see. I want you to participate over here. And those who are on the screen, I'm saying with the screen, I want them to please write down in the chat boxes. Can you tell me what is this is an event. We all are into this event. There's a flyer that has come to us. In the chat boxes, can you please write down what is the name of the event? Those who are in the chat box, please write down the name of the event. Sorry. Can you please write down the name of the event in the chat boxes? Will somebody please regulate it? Not able to see the chat box over here. I request somebody to please just check on that.
KEF annual dinner.
KF annual dinner, absolutely right. This is the name of the event. On what day and date is it? On what day and at what date is it? You can help people. People will tell you. You can just tell me.
14th September 2013.
2013. 14 September 2013. What day is it?
Saturday.
It's a Saturday.
6 p.m.
Absolutely right. Yeah.
Between 6 p.m. and 6:30.
Yeah, so people are to join between 6 p.m. to 6:30. Very great, good, excellent. Now tell me,
Venue,
where
Hilton
is the
Hotel.
venue? What venue is it? What is the venue?
Hilton Hotel.
Hilton Hotel. Fantastic. Who's the chief guest for that particular program?
Christiana Baker.
Christian Baker is the chief guest. Excellent. And who is the target audience?
So pardon.
Who's the target audience for this particular program?
So this is for the foundation, Kashmir Education Foundation.
No.
It's a public.
It is the public, absolutely
Public.
right. We said that we are all invited. That would you, me, all of them are in this particular program. So target audience is all those who want to go over there are the audience. What would be the possible outcome of this event? Can you please help me out? You can ask people and people will tell you. What could be the possible outcome of this particular event?
Number of participants?
How can that be an outcome?
So publicity for that hotel?
Publicity for the hotel? Is it an activity of the hotel? You are trying. That's really very good.
Fund,
foundation.
fund collection.
So that I can interact with you. I'll stop this presentation for a while. Yeah. Yes,
Fund
please.
collection.
Fund collection. Okay. One. What more? What was it about?
So maybe it's a social responsibility.
Advertisement to KE. Fantastic. That is yet another thing that can come in. Fine. Anything else?
Entertainment, sir. Entertainment.